Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm glad you're here with me. One of my viewers, Vanessa, asked me multiple times to please look at a topic that's very important to her. She lives in Quebec, and recently legislation was passed that removed parental primacy for parents. And there's huge concern with citizens there that their rights as parents and their authority as parents has been undermined and eroded. And it's part of that long, slow, nefarious purpose of making children government property and not family members and part of their family unit. Now, I know in my long career as a teacher, there were times that it broke my heart to see children from unfit homes returned again and again and again. And the Quebec officials that are doing this use that as their rationale for the changes they have made. Concern with parents, though, is that this Bill 15 talks about if the government determines that for the well-being of the child should be removed. It's one thing if they're removing them from a home where there's sadistic abuse, but the concern is what if they decide the well-being of the child is to be in a home where this is administered, or other well-meaning, supposedly for your own good, take this type of thing. So Vanessa asked me to look at parental primacy. She and her husband are thinking very seriously about moving to Ontario. So I'm going to first ask the cards to tell us if there's reason to be concerned about this revision of family law, removing parental primacy in Quebec. Let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, here's what the cards had to say. Our question is indicated by the Page of Wands. He's a truth seeker. And so we are seeking some truth and clarity in the situation with the parental primacy situation. This Wands card for me usually indicates that there is some swiftly moving events and lots and lots and lots of talk going on, but there are events associated with it. Now, in the recent past, the pretext for that has been for justice. And I shouldn't say pretext, because I'm sure some well-meaning people have looked at situations where a child truly wasn't in, their home wasn't the best spot for them to be. But we were wondering, is it going to be a pretext used now to erode control and parental authority in loving homes? So let's look at that situation. It looks like at the moment, that's not a concern. This guy is pretty happy. Let's look ahead though. Ahead, yes, it is a concern that it will be misused. Now, based on the fact that on either side of this card for the future, which shows loss, we have the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Swords, which is often my good military. I think, well, as parents, just knowing that it could be, that authority could and will be to some extent misused is cause for assessment. It really is. The fact that it may not continue for long, or that the outcry about it will be vociferous enough that it changes, doesn't take away the fact that there should be concern. So what I'd like to do now is a comparison read. We're going to look at parental situations in Quebec. I'm going to phrase the question as, especially for Vanessa and her husband who are considering a move to Toronto, what will their life, what does the look currently, in the very near future, and 1 year ahead if they remain in Quebec? And then the second one, and we'll really be comparing our past, present, future, what will their lives look like in 1 year if they have moved to Toronto? Will their parental authority be greater in one or the other? So let's see what the cards have to say, because I'm sure these aren't the only parents that are concerned about this situation to the point of considering some changes. Okay, we've got worried parents indicated here, these Quebec families that are thinking about moving away because of this change in their parental primacy. And so the situation is indicated by the world card, and that's usually a victory card. Definitely, we're looking at big picture here. And we were asking, this is our important line here, especially comparing this one with the next one, which will be Quebec. So what will their parental rights and situation look like? Presently, they're looking at other options. Okay, the near future, the King of Pentacles, if they remain there, is kind of the dominant card. And he is about sovereignty. He's a faithful provider. And these parents are just trying to make decisions about what's best for their children, their family, and moving ahead. Okay, the Temperance card shows up for in 1 year. It is aspected clarification card by the Devil. Okay, and then on this side, we have Pentacles going on. Okay, so what that's telling me is life in Toronto. In 1 year, they are not personally going to have an issue to deal with, but others around them are, and danger could be closing in as far as more restrictions and less freedoms. So let's take a look. I'm going to stop and thoroughly reshuffle, and let's see what things would look like in Toronto in 1 year. Okay, so let's compare and see. Okay, the Toronto situation. If our parents relocate to Toronto, we got the Ace of Cups going here, and the situation with the Four of Cups. Now these are a lot of emotions going on. Be careful not to overlook some element of the situation as you make this decision, families, okay? But looking at the near past, present, and future in 1 year in Toronto, it's looking more positive than Quebec. And I know there are some one or two, hopefully more, elected officials in Toronto that are really pushing back against the, I don't know if I can say the words, so let me think here, the regulations that are supposedly for our own good. So yeah, in 1 year, we've got, this is a firm foundation card. There's partnership going on. You're not going to make the decision hastily. If you do, you know, our previous card here for the near future was the temperance one. I don't think you need to pack up your bags and move tonight. But I do think the thought of leaving Quebec merits more prayer and discussion, and might be worthwhile. It looks like Toronto is going to be pushing back, and there's not going to be the parental primacy loss that you're seeing in Quebec anytime in the near future. So best of luck. Don't make it lightly, and don't make it based solely on a read. You never should, but make it thoughtfully and discuss and pray. And I hope things change soon in a very public and obvious way so that these kind of questions aren't even needed. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe. You're welcome to comment. Thank you so much for being part of this. Remember, people, the way we view the world, we need to be resilient, we need to be resourceful, and we need to be hopeful. And part of that hope is picturing the world you want to live in, the way you want to live in it, and we can help that come into being just with our thoughts. We truly can. And my thoughts and my prayers and my love are with you, parents that are facing this dilemma, and my heart goes out to you. Good night.